Hi, Trenton. How you doing? Thank you so much for including your work. Looks like you say decided it would be better to go with helmetless Star-Lord. I agree. I think the process lends itself very well to actual facial uh, portrait characteristics, and it's a super valuable technique using flat illustration. So sans any kind of raster effects like drop shadows or gradients. So it's a fantastic technique and one you will use in your career as a designer and or illustrator. So, okay, then you update Elizabeth Olsen, and then you have, okay. So, I think that the work is gorgeous. This is fantastic. I mean, this is just so beautiful. I think you've done a great job here, and here as well. I think this is much more developed than this, but nonetheless, the hard line here is great. Really great job so far. I love it. One thing I would recommend, and maybe you can respond here and give me your reasoning, but why the skin tone? Why the pink skin tone on both? I'm just not seeing that as if unless I'm missing something. Now you did say something about boy, what was it? Scarlet Witch. I'm just not seeing. I'm seeing a lot of added embellishments, which is fine as long as the technique is there. And I think the technique is there. My first question is why the pink skin? That's my first question, and I think that's going to be the question that's going to be prevalent in the review of this, whether it be a portfolio reviewer or a hiring professional, potential hiring professional, when that time comes, if you elect to include this in your student portfolio. So. All right, so good job. Now, a couple of recommendations I have is to try to add a little bit more detail to the hair. Got to get some texture and and we have some of these techniques over here. That's gorgeous right there. And then also we need a little bit more shadow and highlight area in the facial areas. I think this one has some hints of shadow and highlight right here in the lips and the nose. And you've got some specular highlights, and that's fantastic. But I think that the shadow highlight area in both images could be adjusted to be a little bit more detailed. Great, but this is great. Eyes are fantastic on this, just gorgeous. This is a home run. This is fantastic work right here. Again, my recommendation is this: if you jump over to the week 7 continue stage. After this Maryland, I think this Maryland example does a really great job of establishing your foundational hardline. And then these subsequent tutorials, specifically this one, really do a great job at showing how to add these gorgeous shadow and highlight areas. Look how where the skin meets the clothing. There's going to be a little shadow. There always is going to be a shadow where the skin meets the clothing. You can see it on my t-shirt right here on the camera. I mean, there's always going to be a shadow. So keep that in mind and you really want to develop those areas right there where the skin, or in this case, even an underlying shirt with the jacket, there's going to be a shadow. In layered clothes, there's going to be a shadow where the clothes meets the skin. So really think about that. And then, of course, there's usually going to be shadows where the hair meets the skin, as we can see in this example right here. Really does a great job of establishing depth and dimension. So keep that in mind. Now, moving forward, just a couple of, I just want to draw your attention to a couple of areas of these tutorials right here. Okay, and then if we jump over to week 3 announcement, believe it or not, if we go way back to week 3, and I just want to draw your attention to some really fantastic resources in this. Remember, this was the color announcement, but we've got shadow and highlight techniques right here. And we've got another set of shadowing, color vector illustration, shadow highlight techniques over here, in addition to 6 more video tutorials here and 2 more right here. So there's a bunch of resources here talking about shadow highlight. So let's go ahead and get that area established. And again, really fantastic job so far. Great start. Hey, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any needed clarifications. Great start, Trenton. Thank you for sharing.